Welcome to Spider-Verse Minute, the tri-weekly podcast where we watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 1 minute at a time. I'm Caroline Slater.
And I'm her brother Sean.
And today we are talking about Minute 88. It starts with Doc Ock working on the Collider, and ends a minute later with earthquakes hitting the city.
What did you title this minute?
Collider Part 2.
Yeah, it's the return of the Collider.
Collider 2, Electric Boogaloo.
I like how Doc Ock uses two of her tentacles to stand on, to raise herself up.
Yeah, it's like she never uses her feet, does she?
She does a couple times. We see in later in this minute when she's walking next to Kingpin. They're in the control room. She's on her feet there.
Sure.
But it seems like when she's just doing stuff.
You know what?
But
I don't blame her.
Does she use them a lot because she's really short and they don't make things to her height? They make them to average height, and so she needs to raise herself up so that the terminal she can type on the terminal because that keyboard is very high up.
It is pretty tall.
Or does Kingpin do that? He sets everything up to be a foot taller than it needs to be just to remind everybody who's boss.
I part of me thinks maybe because she can use the tentacles to get a little higher, that she makes the computers taller so only she can mess with them.
Oh, so she does that so other people.
Yeah.
Essentially to put other people in place and tell them, remind them who's boss.
Yeah. That's what I would do anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I could see Kingpin doing it too, but it feels more like she did it on purpose.
Yeah, I guess Kingpin wouldn't really
care?
Yeah, care about stuff like how the server room is being built and whatnot, and that seems more her area.
Unless she knew one of the technicians and they were pulling a prank on her.
Yeah.
That's also possible. Yeah. I don't really have anything else on that. I was gonna say I like when we cut back to Kingpin walking away from the dinner. By the way, what excuse did you think he gave?
Oh, he probably just stepped out.
Oh, okay. But I love this detail, and I think they've shown him doing it a few times throughout the movie, but this was the first time I really noticed it, of him playing with his wedding ring.
Yeah. Yeah, as he's getting closer to the event, he starts to get more fidgety. Yeah.
I like specifically the items with the wedding ring, because that reminds me of my senior year of high school, when I played Madame Thénardier, the innkeeper's wife, for anybody who maybe is not familiar with the name, because I get it. One of the things I did as a little character thing is that I had her fidget with her wedding ring. Because I took it as that she does care about her husband. He's just a dumb butt.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the little character tics that they add for things like that.
Yeah, that's what kind of, in my opinion, when you can find a natural and a logical tick to give a character, that's what really takes it from a character to an actual person.
Yeah, and he disappears into his office, and then the spider people are just hanging out above him.
As you do.
Do you think they were there for a while, waiting for him to go in, or were they about to go in and they heard him walking down the hallway?
I think they heard him walking down the hallway.
So that'd be really funny if they didn't, and they just pulled up the people and he just sees them disappear from view.
Yeah. That would be funny. He just looks up.
Yeah. Nothing to see here.
They're like, oh crap.
Spider-Ham says his line again.
Yeah.
He's talking animals bit again.
Yeah. I do love how after they pull up the guards, Noir, kind of creepily, just whispers, "Sleep."
Yeah.
Like,
everyone else puts or for the other guard they put webbing over his mouth, and Spider Noir is just like, nah, I'm gonna make him pass out.
Sleep. It's like, that's not creepy.
Yeah.
Did you notice that when they start jumping / falling down the elevator shaft, they all have different sound effects?
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed it particularly for Spider-Ham because his is the one that's the cartoonish sound effect.
Yeah, Spider-Ham's is the most obvious, but even Spider's is different, which I thought was cool. He also glitched.
Yeah. Yeah, see again, another that's happening more and more frequently now. And yeah, when they jump into the shaft, there was two things that like one actual issue, like production issue, and then one question to them issue or like story issue, is why did they kick the door down and not just pry it open? Because they'll definitely have heard the door clanging down the shaft.
It's Spider Noir, and he wanted to be cool.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Or they're just so hubris. They're like, these people were dumb enough to be fooled by our costume.
Oh yeah.
And so they won't hear the doors falling down the elevator shaft. And then the production issue I had was the shot we have is looking up the elevator shaft towards them.
Yeah.
And like they're supposed to be in theory on like the top floor or maybe the second from the top floor, but there's so much more extra space above them. Like, where's that going to? There should be a ceiling right there.
Good point. Unless they went down a few floors so that when they kicked in the door...
Yeah, but they're in Kingpin's office. Like,
his
office would be at the top in the penthouse
you're right.
section.
You're very right.
Yeah.
And I remember Penny saying that the elevator that went straight down was at Kingpin's office.
Yeah.
So it's like in his penthouse, so that doesn't really make sense. I tried.
Yep. It's okay. I forgive you.
Legit criticisms and legit concerns. I have no answers.
Yeah.
I have no possible theories. Well, I did for the kicking in of the door.
Yeah.
I don't for the shaft.
Oh, sorry. There was something else that I remembered. You had mentioned that Spider glitched. Do you think Penny also glitched at the same time? Like, do both of them glitch together?
I feel like they would.
Is it like their universe glitching, or is it more the like individuals glitching?
I think it's like they're like kinetic psychically.
Connected psychically?
Yes. What did I say?
Kinetic.
Yes, I think because they are connected psychically, like, it might be one of those things where they technically glitch individually, but they glitch together because of that connection.
Yeah.
The only other theory I have is because they literally were both sent there at the same time from the same universe.
Yeah, it could just be that universe's atoms are glitching at that time.
Yeah, like it could be like if they just happen to be synced.
Yeah. I was just wondering that when I because when we saw Spider glitch and Penny was inside of her.
Yeah. Do you mind if I move on?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the next thing I have is actually a visual comparison that I noticed. It's probably the first time I ever noticed it. It's when we see the collider warming up after they're like, getting it all ready.
Yeah.
And it's this circle and it glows and it starts glowing a red. And I instantly thought of Hal from 2001 Space Odyssey.
Oh, yeah, like...
Did you see it? Like, did you kind of see how, like, they looked very similar and even the shots were the same in a way?
No, but I can see how you could take that as
like
similar.
I don't think it was a deliberate reference or anything, but I just couldn't help but see, like, because there's that one specific shot where they have a close-up of Hal and his, like, red camera or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of takes up that whole, like, the whole screen, and this kind of did a similar thing, and it turned red, and I'm like, oh, hey, it's kind of like Hal. I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, okay. It briefly kind of looks sort of like Hal's eye.
Yeah, again, I don't think it's deliberate. I don't think it was done on purpose. I could be wrong. It might have been.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a cool visual connection of like, huh, that's fun.
Yeah, I like that whole like sequence of them running up to see it power on.
Yeah.
It's just really cool the way it like follows them and how it's got the like bad guy prowler hunting them sounds in the background, like ramping up as they're getting closer to when it actually turns on. And I like too, we get like a connection I made was when they're running along the pipes, it's very reminiscent of their like intro stories and how there was a pipe that they were running through there.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. The last thing I have is like all of their reactions when it does turn on. Like they really do a good job at like getting the masks to express, even though it's very minimalistic.
Yeah, they do a nice reaction shot, and then like it cuts up to Jeff. You know, like they have to show like Jeff's a really good guy. He helped the old lady.
Pretty much. Look, we like Jeff, okay?
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add?
So, one thing I want to just point out before jumping into the alt scene is when after Kingpin tells him to turn on the collider, and we cut back to Doc Ock, like, you know, punching in the sequence code for the final time. I noticed that her numpad is on the left-hand side of the keyboard, which makes me think that she's a lefty.
Oh.
And I just thought it was, if that is the case, like it's a nice little, again, just like indicator of something about the character that, you know, they don't come out right and say. I like those little like, if you put these, you know, these 6 things together, you can paint a okayish picture of the character. Like you can paint a specific picture of the character.
Yeah, little details like that are always fun for me.
Yeah. But moving on to the alt scene then.
Woo, alt scene.
Yeah, this one's a brief one. It happens at the beginning of the minute when after they capture take out the 2 guards, instead of just immediately cutting to them in the elevator shaft or like kicking in the door to the elevator shaft, it actually shows them walking into Kingpin's office.
Okay.
Yeah, and Penny's like, it should be behind this painting here. And Noir looks up at the painting and he's like, I love the use of I love the way it uses purple. And we're looking at the painting and it's a big yellow painting.
Oh, Noir, he tries.
Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, colors aren't his thing or strong suit yet.
It's like, you're working on it.
But yeah, then Noir just like rips the painting in half, revealing the door, and then that's when he kicks it in. And we see it fall down the elevator shaft, and then the 3 guys jump down, and then it cuts back to Peter or Gwen about to jump down, and she's just like hanging on the side of the wall, and Peter's looking back into like Fisk's office, and he's looking at a family portrait of the 3 of Fisk, his wife, and his son. Yeah. And then Noir shouts something up at them, and then him and Gwen jump back down, and then that's when we cut to Doc typing and powering up the beam.
Interesting.
Yeah, like it was a nice little scene, but it definitely, like, you know, it was a good thing they cut it out. I feel, because it slowed down it slowed everything down a little bit too much.
Yeah, it really kind of put stuff on pause.
Yeah, and this one and the previous alt scene, like, combined together, didn't really, like, now we're getting to the end of the movie. We kind of need to keep things moving along, and we've been away from Miles for a while.
Yeah, like, we're still not back with Miles.
Yeah, and so this is just, like, we need to shorten that time between Miles' appearances.
Yeah. Okay, is that everything?
Yeah, that's all I wanted to bring up for this.
Yeah, like, I realized I didn't really talk much during that alt scene, but I think you said it perfectly. Like, I'm glad they cut it. It just tightens things up. It's just a little better. Yeah, like, I don't really have much to add.
Well, thank you for joining us today. Tune in on Wednesday to find out what happens in their upcoming fight.
See you next time.
Bye.